Hey, what is up? Johnny Law here again with Roll for Narrative, and I'll be damned if I don't have another tip for you. Well, actually, we're going to start off with a somewhat harsh declarative statement, and that is, your backstory's bad, and you should feel bad. No, seriously, you should. You should feel really, really fucking terrible about it. Okay, I'm being a little hyperbolic. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure you put a lot of time into it. I'm sure that it really gets to the root of who your character is, and it shows why they have joined on this adventure, whatever it may be. And it, really, like, all the little nuances are just laid out there for anyone to pick apart and analyze and understand what makes your character them. But I like to posit a different take on this. What if instead of having this backstory etched in stone, you instead allowed it to be living? Let it breathe. Let it become a bigger thing as you explore the world of the campaign that you're in. As you develop more intricate and endearing relations with the other characters at the table, why not have your backstory there to be molded and to grow? Throw out those edgelord fanfics. Instead, adopt a policy of using only 4, maybe 5 bullet points to kind of outline what your backstory is, and let the details come naturally. Just like in life, the greatest days are ahead of you, not behind you. So why not embrace that and let the character truly come to its own at the table? So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about here, or why you shouldn't fixate on your backstory to the point where it's a full narrative. Have you ever tried to tell someone about a dream that they were in? Always goes well, right? People are like, oh, fuck, what did I do next? Was I a dick? Did I help you out? What happened? So invested in that story because they're a part of it. But when you try to tell someone a dream that they're not in, no matter how amazing it was or vivid in your own mind, it's just not going to land the same. And the same is with your backstory. If you tell someone, I was this, and then my dad did this, and then my mom left me for this, and then this boyfriend dumped me, and then who cares? No one cares. No one cares. You care, I'm sure, but no one else really cares. The GM might care a little bit because they're like, oh, I can take this bit and I'll mold it and that'll be a great hook later. Sure, that's fine. But you can do that without being so specific. Now, instead, if you were to say, simple bullet points. I grew up in a broken family. I left home at a young age to travel. While traveling, I met a group of mages who taught me my magic powers, or unlocked my magic powers, or taught, depending on what class or whatever you're playing. After with these mages for years, orcs came and wiped out the coven except for myself, and now I'm on a mission to find out what happened, or to find the perpetrators of your sorrow. And if you're to do that, all those little empty spots that are left open just because you just made a bullet point instead of a fucking paragraph, you could now have the other players at the table help you realize them. Maybe someone else had a horrible thing happen with their home life, and now, because you didn't already say exactly what that was, you guys can kind of commiserate and make it so that you actually do have a bond over something. And it's not just like, oh, my parents were alcoholics, and oh, your parents didn't drink at all, but they're really strict religiously. Well, okay, you can't really relate to each other. I mean, you're both abused in different ways, but whatever. But if you were just both to say, I had a broken home, then maybe you guys can like put something together where it's like, oh my god, this is something that we can bond on. This might be going a little too far, but one of a neat little tricks one of my DMs, or I should call him a GM because we don't really spend time in dungeons, but one of the tricks my GM does is he likes to have us come across things from our past, and he'll let the other players start off by introducing different things about that area of our life, or habitat or something.
But as you take in the scene, I would like everyone to help construct it. What we're going to do is, I'm going to say how these things have been disturbed. But what I want you each to add to the scene is things in this house that reflect Absala's relationship with her sister.
There was a book that both of you enjoyed. It was like a book of poems. And you see it like just strewn to the floor, partially open.
Its pages have been torn.
Yeah.
Like torn out as if someone was pulling pages out of it. What's this poem book? Where did it come from culturally?
I'm gonna say it's like old nursery rhymes of the Mora culture.
Oh, was it given to them by their mother?
Yes.
Oh boy, that's unfortunate. That's a very valuable book to you guys. It's just laying. It's the first thing you see on the floor. It's the pages have been violently torn out and just thrown around.
Your hamster's dead.
Pet?
Oh no.
Is it her sister's pet, or is it their pet together, or is it her pet?
I think it's their pet together, actually. That was the one thing that they like didn't ever like fight over, even after the schism.
So I'm gonna say there's probably a closet or a trunk or something where you keep all of your like dance artifacts, whether it's robes or shoes or any kind of accessories that you use for your dancing, and that has been just torn apart and ripped open and ruined.
The trunk has kind of been hurled into the middle of the room, and it's fallen open. The clothes are strewn everywhere, and they're like flattened, and there's tears in them, and they're wet.
To add on just to the whole backstory thing, why you should keep it vague, I would give a couple of popular culture references. Starting off with Batman. Everyone knows Batman's backstory. Rich kid, parents were murdered, an attempted robbery, maybe it was a reaction. See, it changes depending on who wrote the comic, and that's why it's kept open. In some stories, it was the Joker before he became the Joker. In other stories, it was, I don't know, I don't actually read Batman comics.
Shame.
But I know that much about it, and it sticks out. And then from there, we knew he trained to become an athlete and martial artist, and he continued the family's empire and became this rich motherfucker who builds crazy toys and fights crime at night. Awesome. Luke Skywalker. We didn't get his whole backstory until, well, we didn't get the chunks of it, the main chunks of it, until the second movie. But what we did get was just that farm boy raised by his aunt and uncle. Early on, we know he dreams of leaving that and become a pilot. And then we get an early lore dump when he meets Obi-Wan and he tells him your father was a great fighter, pilot in the Clone Wars, blah, blah, blah. You know, it doesn't give him the full thing, but gives him this little bit that we allow as an audience to revel in a cinematic reveal. So just how that works for cinema, you can do something very similar for your campaign and allow this just 4-5 bullet point backstory to evolve as you play. How fucking great would that be? So yeah, that's it. I mean, we're gonna have a whole nother episode about Session Zero because there's so much that I think people could be doing in Session Zero besides just doing the safety measures and setting the tone and everything, which is important. But I feel like a lot of people skip bonds. They skip fleshing out the backstories as a collaborative group, and I really feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities there. So yeah, that's my tip. Hope it helps. Hope you don't hate me for it. I'm sorry for the rage bait, title or title screen, thumbnail, whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I'm still learning. But I do know that D&D rocks. Hell yeah, fuck yeah.